Hello. We are making a video in the garden. It is a beautiful warm day. I would say it's 60 or more degrees here in the garden, probably 65 degrees or something. It's really good. So I'm very happy about that. And I love being in the garden with my computer. And I got grounded earlier with my bare feet on the cement, sitting here on this cooler water ice cooler thing, which is very practical. This is a practical stool, really. That other chair, that was really difficult to bring this in and out of the garage. So I'm gonna leave this always in the garage. That is practical in the garage for putting stuff on, but not for out here. I like to have this cooler water dispenser stool here in the garden, because when it rains it's very easy to wipe it with a towel and then I can sit on it and get grounded. It's very nice. But I also get grounded on the grass when the grass is dry like it is now. It had been raining non-stop for months and months, and so finally the rain let off and the weather got warmer. It's very nice. Yeah, it was pretty rough. The weather was unimaginable storms that blew shingles off the roof, and it blew all kinds of things around where I thought, how did this get from there to there? But the storms, they can do that. And it's caused by global warming. Yes, it is. There are people that are still in denial about it, but it is a fact. Okay, it's a scientific fact. It's an observable fact. It's obvious, weather patterns have shifted without humans before, but this time human greed and not listening to scientists' warnings, that has brought this on now massively. Okay. Scientists have been warning for over 50 years, and greedy people changing the laws and mixing with politics when it's vested interest, they have brought this on. Okay, so let's not make any mistake about this. Let's be very crystal clear on this. Okay, what is going on? There are a couple of things I have been wanting to talk about. Last night when I went to bed, I have been thinking about these themes a lot. I watched the Cuomo-Tucker conversation. And it's like, here is this Chris Cuomo, right? And he has lived his entire life for over 50 years doing whatever made him money, whatever got him famous, whatever brought him into the public, whatever it took, he would do whatever he was told by the corporate agenda. This is what you have to do. They have many instances of middlemen and intermediate men and intermediate women. Some of them, it's usually men that are involved with these shady type of things. And so there are many of these instance levels, right? And one instance level will, if things go to pot, they will blame the other instance level under them, and they will wash themselves clean in the public eye. And they will say, no, I had nothing to do with that. It was this guy's responsibility. But it's every single person's responsibility in this. I'm not just blaming it on Chris Cuomo, but I'm blaming it on him, as well as on many other players that are involved with with the media corporations that they themselves take a lot of money from the corporate agenda that then tells them how to portray someone, how to bully someone publicly, how to do an interview with a politician and then try to use psychology, mass psychology, to make that person look ridiculous or clownish or not believable or debunked or whatever in front of the audience. Okay, they know how to do it, even though they have no argument and the politician is winning. They know how to play the public. They know everything about social psychology. Okay, they have their experts there. They have their market psychologists that they use that have done extensive research on public opinion and how easily the public opinion can be swayed in this or that direction. Usually using peer pressure tactics that use shame, ridicule, that use a threat of social rejection. Like, if you like that politician, you're not gonna be invited to our party. You're gonna look bad. They won't say this directly like this, but that is what's implied. Even in a facial movement, sometimes there are not even words necessary to put this kind of, to play around with the public psychology. I mean, they really downloaded the entire playing field, all the chess moves of psychological grooming and mass peer pressure tactics. They know exactly what to use, word-wise, facial expression-wise, body posture-wise. I mean, anything, Chris Cuomo, he's got it all downloaded. The way he sits there, even also, now he's coming across, he wants to come across as the truther Robert Kennedy, like wanting to look like Robert Kennedy. I mean, he looks a little bit like Robert Kennedy already, but now he really uses that. Trust me, they don't shy away from any tactic. If this chess move didn't work out for whatever reason, because there are many other factors involved always, nobody has always the infinite number of other variables that come into a playing field. So if this doesn't work out, but they're pretty good at it, they're usually better than anyone else at it because they're really paying attention to this. They're not naive like me, coming into a conversation and I will blast out the truth, and then through that I will make myself not be invited to the party, and because I'm a truther, I'm not playing any games. But they play games, so trust me, they lie to you right to your face. And Chris Cuomo is very, very, very good at lying and deceiving and making people think that he is someone that he's not. Now he wants to make people think he is a Robert Kennedy who has the truth on his side. I'm sure he's probably even promoting Robert Kennedy because he does whatever the corporate agenda tells him. I have nothing against Robert Kennedy, the person, the actual person, but Robert Kennedy, I saw this coming from a long time ago. I saw this coming. I mean, it was obvious that Robert Kennedy at some point is going to take votes away from Donald Trump. Why do you think Robert Kennedy is never even mentioned by the media, right? They kicked him out of the Democratic Party right away, because obviously they didn't want him to become the nominee of the Democratic Party, because obviously he's not on board with the corporate agenda, right? They want someone who represents the mafia, okay? And that's obviously not Robert Kennedy. But then if he is an independent, at some point he's going to take votes away from Donald Trump. It's obvious, right? How this all plays out always. People should be very informed about this. But nobody is going to beat Donald Trump. And the corporate agenda knows that, obviously. Nobody is even going to take votes away from Donald Trump. Not to a significant amount of votes. Not even Robert Kennedy can do this. But Chris Cuomo, I see which door he's coming in now. He's coming in through the Robert Kennedy door, right? The side door or the behind stage door. Always coming through the back door, backside door, through the broom chamber door or whatever, always finding some kind of niche in psychology, how to weasel himself. I don't want to use that word, because I don't want to use any animal word that's discriminatory against any kind of animal. You can call them snake also. That'll be insulting to the snakes, because the animals don't lie. Okay, so a weasel weasels himself through the jungle, right? Chris Cuomo weasels himself through the jungle of politics, okay, in any way he can. So that's not the right word. I'm not going to use animal words anymore. What he does is he maneuvers and he tricksters and shysters and deceives and meanders his way through the social marketplace. Okay, so, and he wants to sell himself to you, he wants to sell himself to the women for sure. I mean, he's playing out his looks, his masculinity, just the way he sits there already, and he is, of course, he's real full of himself. I mean, it's good to love yourself. That's really good, But, I mean, the problem is he uses all of these things to make more money and get more fame and get more recognition and so on. If he got kicked out there, then he will sneak in over there and he will try another platform to do it. I hope Tucker Carlson does not fall for this. I would not invite Chris Cuomo into my life. That's for sure. I don't trust this man. He is violent. He makes violent jokes. He has made a violent joke to Tucker Carlson. If someone made a violent joke like this on my talk show, if I had one, I'm never going to have a talk show. I wished, but there's no chance, right? But if I did, I would say, there is the door, you are leaving now. And if you don't, I will call my security guard, right? So there's the door and you are leaving there through that door and you don't ever come back. If someone said something like that to me, even in a joke, and I guess it was sort of like, it wasn't even a complete joke. It was like even just half a joke, I mean, which makes it even worse, right? So I don't even want to repeat what he said. If anyone asks me personally, I will write it to you under the video. But I'd rather not even say what he said, because there are some things that people say that they are so mentally deranged that I don't even want to use those words or wordings. I'd rather not even describe it, because it's just so bad. And that guy is violent, and Paul told me that he's already heard a report about him in the past where he has attacked a bicycle rider on the street because the bicycle rider said to him, "Aren't you Chris Cuomo? Don't you have the virus? Aren't you supposed to stay at home?" And that made Chris Cuomo so mad, he physically attacked that bicycle rider. That's amazing. Kind of like someone on bath salts. And I can clearly see he's definitely psychopathic. He's Machiavellian, he's sociopathic. And I don't demonize these things. I view it as a mental illness. You know, it's greed pathology. It's also, it's how do they call it? Histrionic personality disorder. You know, when someone has to constantly put themselves out there and just beams at the sunlight of public attention. So yeah, and I'm not doing ultimate judge hammer on it. It's a mental illness. Okay? I have a little bit of the histrionic myself, so I know very much how that feels and how much we crave attention and we want it, and most people have it, but most people won't admit it, and I'm sure Chris Cuomo is probably not going to admit that. So, but I don't know. I'm glad, but having said all of this, I'm glad that they did talk, and I'm not calling this an interview. Okay, they interview each other. They're both journalists. So Tucker is on the side of truth, and Chris Cuomo is on the side of public attention and money again, you know, and who knows what, and maybe he's paid for this also, you know. I don't know. I don't trust him, and I have every right in the world, you know, considering how he has treated Donald Trump and other people, I have every right in the world to never trust him again, ever, no matter how Robert Kennedy style he's trying to come over to the public. So, no. It's not going to work for me, that's for sure. But I see it's already working on a lot of people. So a lot of people that will come to his channel and say, "I used to not like you in the past, but now that you've come out to the public and you have sobered up, now I like you so much better, thank you." Now they're starting to like glorify him. No, no. I don't even know the motive of him talking to Tucker. So I think in the past he rejected talking to Tucker. So why is he coming there now? Why is he calling him up now? It's like, "Oh, I'm changed. Oh, that sobered me up. They kicked me out." I mean, maybe the whole thing is just a plot, and they just said they kicked him out. And you don't even know what's going on. They kicked out Sam Altman from OpenAI. A month later, they hired him back. I mean, what's going on? You don't know what's going on. You have no idea. Sometimes these are intricate 100 chess move ahead, social manipulation modalities that you don't even see through at all, what they're trying to do. So maybe it's genuine. I have no idea. I mean, I may be wrong, right? But I don't trust him ever. And then what really bothered me is that I couldn't get this guy out of my head. Now that really sucks. Oh, when I see someone like that, and then I can't, and the different brain regions are like in sort of a confrontation, or not confrontation, but one will say to the other, I know you're right, but we're thinking of him now. So, and that really is annoying. And when that's, of course, you know, I already know, because I know which strings he's pulling, you know. He's trying to get all the women, you know, on board. And he knows exactly how to do it with his body movements, the way he dresses, bodybuilding. Even though he's 53, he is still hot. And it feels terrible to say that. I hate it. I hate that I'm thinking of him now and taking this image of him into my sleep. And then I dream about him. And the dreams are not pleasant at all. It's like, the dreams are all about, it's like I'm this good Samaritan and this Chris Cuomo is not interested in good Samaritanism. And then it ends, the dream, I don't even remember exactly the details, but the dream ends up to be me struggling with him and other people, trying to convince them when they're like, nope, we're on the money train. You're not going to convince me of whatever. And I know that I can feel this very strongly, you know. I have very strong intuition and psychic abilities on this. So I can sense it very strongly that this man is putting up an act. This is not genuine. I wished it was. I really do want to give people credit right away and say, oh, great. But, you know, it's not genuine. But it's still good to have a dialogue. It's still good to have a conversation. And maybe there are Machiavellians that you will never reach. You will never reach their hearts. Okay? You will never find the key to these people's hearts. And that's sad. That makes me very, very, very sad. And I don't want to be hormonally involved with someone like this. I don't want to even think about someone like this, or think about someone like this when I'm lying in bed at night. That really bothers me. Why do I think that's like, that makes me feel like I have so much more work to do in becoming more mentally mature. But one thing is for sure, both of my hemispheres are very clear on this, that this man is a liar. My hormones don't care about that, which sucks, but it is what it is, you know. It's what it is. But I'm not gonna let this guy into. If I saw him somewhere, I would run really fast before my hormonal system kicks in, and then I become this complacent, this complacent big mama who's like, whatever you say, yeah, oh man. I can avoid that situation on the internet at least. So on the internet, in writing, this I got more control over that, over the hormones. So that really helps. But yeah, but I'm definitely I am definitely not as hammer on the head with someone when my hormones kick in. And sometimes I can't think at all when that happens. So no, that's, and I know he plays on that. He counts on that, you know, he counts on where the women, the look of the women, where the look goes onto his body and all of that, and face, and he knows exactly how to play his face. Robert Kennedy style. We are so honest. You're right. Yes. No. I see through this. No. I cannot be deceived like this. So, and I hope Tucker Carlson doesn't let this guy into his life and take his wife away, and who knows what that Chris Cuomo will all do, you know. So I don't trust him at all. And he said to Tucker Carlson that the only reason why he got married is because he wanted children. And Tucker said he got married because he was attracted to his wife. She's hot, and that's why he got married to her. And Chris Cuomo's like, oh, what a concept. Yeah, that's new to him. Someone got married because they like that woman? They love that woman, even? No, he got married because he wanted children. That's for his ego. That's for his physical DNA proliferation and all of that. It's all about Chris Cuomo. Yeah. That's what it is. Now, I have ranted enough now about this, and I needed it. I needed to rant about this because I think it's important. People need to really straighten up on this, on what people do and how they deceive the public, and what tricks they use, and what audience they're using and playing out, and how they target people with how they target the different demographics with different things, and all of that. So this is his full-time job. It's like he learned that fully, the whole entire, all the tricks in the book. So he studied that really good. He's probably studied market psychology too. I wonder if he studied psychology and then got into market psychology. I would not be surprised if he did. So, but Richard Berman is another one, and there are many of those, like political advisors in the White House that shouldn't even be there. What are these psychologists doing there? You know, but they all have those, and they discuss these things with them, and they say, hey, it's better if you wear this tie, or if you just lean your body more like this, or look more like this, look more like or whatever, you know, or say these words and all of that. Trust me, it's like they're playing you out, they're playing the public. They're playing people's psychology so well. They play people like a musical instrument. That's what they do. They play the public like a violin, you know, and you just sing along to whatever the string holders, literally, the bow string holders do with that violin. And what they do with you as a puppet, the string holder of the puppet, of the masses of puppets. So do you want to be a puppet, or do you want to be an individual free thinker and truther and become aware and be critical of what you hear? So I definitely want to be critical thinker, and I want to see the things for what they are. Okay? I do not want to be deceived. I don't want anyone to play me out or play out my hormones or anything. So I pay very close attention. I have to pay extra attention, particularly with my system. So extra attention to this kind of stuff. So I'm grateful to Tucker to bring the truth to the world, to open up the dialogue, to talk to El Chapo if necessary, and Richard Berman, and who knows, Bill Gates. Oh my gosh, Tucker was talking to Bill Gates. Yikes! I'm probably only gonna be able to see this for 1 minute and then I have to turn it off, because I can't look at Bill Gates. But it's just, I mean, this guy just oozes out deception, and he could never play. He's not a good deceiver. He can't play like Chris Cuomo. He can't play the public like this. I mean, Bill Gates, his facial expression is nope, money train, whatever it takes. Yeah. And if he says he cares about this, then it's obvious that he doesn't, because you can see it in his face. So, or George Soros, for example. No, these people, they couldn't even lie. There's a lot of other people that know they can't deceive anyone, and they, for that reason, even stay behind stage. They never even come into the public. And there's the majority of them is like, that's like the root of the ice block. Is like 90% are behind stage. They are string holders behind the stage, and you don't see them. They don't want you to see them. And why do you think they're doing so much research on the public, on all the social media websites? Why do you think Facebook has a specific department of people that are just doing that, studying the public's opinions and reactions and psychology and you name it? I mean, what better way? It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet for the psychologists. I mean, that's what they have been waiting for centuries. Now they have it. They can study everyone in absolute depth. They also know the dangers because of that. They know the dangers that are coming through certain developments, like letting people from Muslim cultures into this country. They know all of that, but they do nothing about it. They won't speak out. They don't say anything. Quite the opposite. They'll kick you out for saying something. And that has happened to me on Twitter before Elon Musk got Twitter. So it actually happened like 2 months or 3 months before Elon Musk had full legislation over Twitter. That's when it happened to me. And when the people before were there, and they had all of these bouncer programs in there that would immediately bounce you out or reprimand you or warn you or disable your whatever you can write, when you can write, or you're timed out or whatever, and come back in a week or something like this. Which you know what that is. I mean, that's worse than censorship. That's harassment. That's psychological harassment, and it's psychoterror. And these people should be sued for that, and these people should go to prison for that. But nothing happened. Instead, they just hawked every bit of money that they could hawk onto themselves before Elon Musk and his team were able to put an end to their hawking and all of this. And then these two people that were then shown by the media outside of the Twitter building, they had absolutely nothing to do with Twitter. They were hired I know they were hired by the corporate agenda to look like they have been kicked out and they're all bummed out, and so that the public would turn against Elon Musk. And then it turns out these people have nothing to do with Twitter. They have never worked there. And then Elon Musk puts his arms, he's such a good Samaritan, he puts his arms around them and smiles for the photos and says, "You poor former employees," making fun of them. Obviously they deserve it, okay? And they know very well what they have done, that they have put on a show there, and they got paid for it. They needed the money yeah, to make Elon Musk look bad. All of this is so incredibly annoying. And someone has to say it. Someone has to talk about this. And then I hear some spiritual people. When I hear spiritual people say that, when they repeat, some sages that will say, those who judge are not there yet. Those who judge themselves are halfway through, and those who don't judge anyone they have made it. Ta, you won! Hey, the Las Vegas lights and lamps and alarm comes on. You won the jackpot. You don't say a word ever, and you won. I mean, it's like, wait a minute here. Yes? Yeah, let's really rewind this. Wait a second. You have to judge sometimes. You have to. I know I'm not enlightened, and I'm not trying to be enlightened. Okay? For me, being an animal mother, being a dog mom, being the mother of all living beings, okay, and paying attention and making the world better wherever I can, even if it means I make videos and bring awareness, okay, I will do it. And sometimes it is required to show the truth, to say the truth about people, and to talk about it the way it is, okay? Even if I laugh, or even if it has some kind of universal humor in it. Obviously not. I'm not making fun of anyone. It's just, they bring it on to themselves if someone might laugh about the humorous effect in this entire thing, right? So I'm not even putting them down or anything. I'm just saying it the way it is. And if they are acting deceptively and trying to manipulate the public, or manipulate anyone, or try to give someone like Donald Trump and Elon Musk a really hard time in a conversation or interview, then those journalists need to be called out for it. Okay, they need to be put on a stand. They need to be put on the tribunal, and they need the world to see them for what it is, for what they have done, for how they have behaved. And if people laugh, so what? Then they have brought it onto themselves, obviously. Yes, okay, that is the truth. That is the absolute truth. That is the truth. I love those things. I have several of those. Actually, I have 3 of those. I have a yellow one also, and I also have a pink one. And this is the Blue God. I love those. They're so amazing. So I got them at the Dollar Tree store when they were still $1. Really good. It's a good value because those are my necklaces. That's my jewelry that I wear sometimes. Rarely, but sometimes I do. Even in public, I have more. People weren't even looking. They probably see this for 1 second, go, oh no, a nutcase, let me just quickly go away. But I don't care, I love this. To me, this is the future of jewelry. This feels much better on the skin than something made out of metal. So much better. And this is an old telephone cord. The old style, it's new, I got it. Also at the Dollar Tree store or 99-cent store or something. Yeah, Dollar Tree store. I got one in this color and one in pink. That's awesome. And I also used these here. I got several of those. I used one in this ghost green and one in pink for my MBT shoes. I took the shoelaces out and I put these in instead. And you don't even have to tie it. They just hold it in place and keep it elastic. So you can put your foot in it and it is elastic. And then once the foot is in it, it keeps this together and firm and elastic at the same time. This is really good technology. I love it. And I think it looks good too. But the future of shoes, they don't have shoelaces. Obviously, the shoes of the future are made with very highly elastic and very strong materials. And synthetic materials, not leather. So what else did I want to talk about? There are all these things I wanted to talk about. From the sky perspective, I see what Jesus Christ said. They don't know what they're doing. They are on the wrong train. They're on the wrong train of thought. They are on the wrong train of mind, and they have lost their minds in the trains, and they don't know better, but they need to be brought back to base camp. They need to be shown this is not okay, how you are acting. Okay, here is a mirror. I give you an insight into your behavior and what your behavior is doing to the world. If you turn the public away from Donald Trump, which didn't work, thank goodness, but if you're trying to do this, then you are making the world suffer. If you are promoting the democratic agenda and the mafia, which is the mafia now completely, they've completely gutted the Democratic Party. So if you promote the corporate global mafia, I call it that. I don't call it deep state. I don't call it whatever, Illuminati, because those words are too good for that. It's a corporate global mafia. It's a dirty, dirty, dirty business. Okay, and they have their over-the-counter. They have their public, socially accepted, legally supported crimes, and they have the ones that are under the table. Okay. The under the table crimes, the black market crimes and so on. That's all one thing. It's one block. Okay. It's one unit. You think that, the mafia doesn't have anything to do with the legal pharmaceutical companies. Of course they do. Okay. But it's obvious. And, the drug cartels, of course, they're all completely interwoven with pharma industry and all of that. All of that is interwoven, and these are all filaments and elements of the corporate mafia, and that's the truth. So while looking at it from the sky perspective, these people don't know what they're doing. They're on the wrong train psychologically. They think they're just doing good business in quotation marks. They even talk like this. I mean, even getting married just to have kids, it's like the woman is just the means to an end, right? The woman has nothing to say with Chris Cuomo. The woman has duct tape over her mouth, and she's just a baby maker, so that he can proliferate his genes. And obviously, that is the vast majority of men that think like this. And that is the toxic sexism. Okay, that the non-militant feminists like myself are speaking against, obviously. So, but then there are militant feminists that completely lost their minds. Okay, and they totally contradict themselves. They want to bring Muslim men into the country because they're woke. I mean, that's just, those people they're not on the level, they're not level-headed, they don't know what they're doing, they are psychologically completely brainwashed and indoctrinated, and they are afraid of social rejection and all of these kind of things. So, yeah, that's not good. A non-militant feminist is a free and critical thinker. Okay? And that's what we all should be. I think it's very important. So what else? There were other things I wanted to talk about. I watched a conversation with David Deutsch and what's this? McConnor, the interviewer. And I think they're both from England. And so McConnor is into theoretical physics. He said he's not a physicist, but he's definitely has read a lot about this and is very informed. And he interviews theoretical physicists and other scientists. And he had theoretical physicist David Deutsch on there, and David Deutsch, that's quite a character. What a lovely person, lovely living being. And what David Deutsch said, everything that he said made 100% sense to me. So there are several other people that I'm not on board with. There are many of them. Many scientists and writers that are not flexible minded. David Deutsch is flexibly minded, and they were talking about multiverses, and they were talking about quantum entanglement and non-linearity, non-locality, and all of these things that tie in with this existence that Donald Hoffman is talking about this also, and Donald Hoffman is what he's calculated mathematically. He even admitted, he said that went against his worldview, but then he had to succumb to the reality of the mathematical calculation, and is now on board with quantum entanglement because that's what his calculations have shown him. So math is another dimension that comes here, and if people can follow that to a certain point at least, and get into the material, then that other outer dimension that is called mathematics, can show them the truth, can show them a lot of stuff about the infinite cosmos, infinity, and the multiverses, and multiverse having an infinite amount of universes with infinite amounts of galaxies in it. And he said that all of those infinite, and by all I mean infinite, all always has this implication of finality, but infinitely all, in all, just to be understood, to use words, to make yourself clear with, in order to bring the message across. I use the word all in this sense, but it really in truth it cannot be applied. In truth, it's always the word infinite amounts. So the infinite amounts of universes have infinite, all in parentheses, influence on each other. Just like your neurons have, and your neurons, they are finite. There's a finite amount of neurons, but a large amount, but it is finite, so that's not infinite. I don't have infinitely many neurons. My brain would be so huge that it would be bigger than the planet Earth, right? So now we have a finite amount of neurons in our brain, in the entire brain, particularly in the cortical regions, the gyri and the sulci. That's the convoluted matter, the gray matter of it. And all of these thinking neurons, including the abstract thinking neurons, which are called spindle cells, all of these neurons, every one of them, interacts or can potentially interact with another. So there are that many. It's just an astronomical number of interconnectivity that is happening at all time, even if we're not very consciously aware of it. And when we dream, it happens. So in the macrocosmos, and the brain is like, I would say, like in between the macro and the micro. So we have that same happening in the microcosmos when you go into the ether. And then when you go into the macrocosmos, into space, and you fan way out and you look at it from way farther out, and you see different. There are photos that some telescopes, I think the Kepler telescopes and the James Webb telescope, they were able to take photos of that so far in the distance that they captured several galaxies whirling, like several, many different lit up whirls of galaxies. And then if you get even further out, you will be able to see the different universes as well. So this is a multiverse situation of infinitely many universes, and they all have interactive character. They are all intertwined. They can reach each other. They can influence each other with messages and so on. Obviously, if there are two universes adjacent to each other, they will have more of an interaction going on than like a million universes further away. So it's then the ripple effect that's happening, and that made perfect sense to me. And I will watch more of his conversations because I think he is amazing. He has a lot to contribute, and he also said, and that's wonderful of him. There are a lot of, I already have seen that there are some scientists that are getting into quantum physics that have said about Einstein that Einstein was wrong and that he didn't understand it. David Deutsch would never say something like this, and I would never say something like this. There were only the very first pioneers of quantum entanglement during the lifetime of Albert Einstein, towards his last years. Very few of them that have gotten into it, and some of those messages and research papers he didn't even get to read yet. So I think he heard of some of those, he read some of those, and then he was very into it. And if he had lived longer, he would definitely have gotten on board with this and studied it and gotten deeper into this. And then also even questioned his own calculations, or would have said that his own calculations they're actually only pertaining to a specific situation, or a specific situation that still regards this reality here on Earth. So what is reality? Reality, well, that's a word that we use here on Earth, obviously, and it's important. But reality is very diffusing and it's very warped. When you get further out, when you get into different dimensions or different spaces, if you go into the subatomic microcosmos space, that reality and also the physics will change as much as if you go way out. Then a lot of those type of measure modalities will fizzle out, and it's okay, So that's why Donald Hoffman said, what is actually reality? Is it a solid reality, or is this actually more of some kind of headset perception? The headset you put on when you go into a 3D video game, So this is a possibility, that this is some kind of headset perception that we live in. But whether it is or isn't, it doesn't make any difference. And I'm glad they got into this subject, the philosophical implications of those calculations. I'm so glad they got into that towards the end of that conversation, because this is important. This is our responsibility that we do think about this. The implications of those calculations and these thought experiments, the implications that those thoughts have on how we conduct ourselves here in this, from this framework or network of perceptibility that we live in here right now. Yes, baby, come to me. Yes. I don't see that this has any kind of bearing on my life that I live here, whether this is a headset reality or it is a solid reality or it's a real reality or it is a perceived reality. It doesn't make any difference, because I am here, I sit here, I feel this chair under me, I breathe this air, I hear the cars in the distance, I see the apple tree and all the other vegetation, I feel the wind. This is as real as it gets. I feel pain, I feel joy sometimes. These are called qualia, the perception or the different types of perception modalities, the things we perceive. We smell a perfume, we like it, it's called a qualia. I smell something, I hear something, I see the butterfly, and this is real enough for me. Whether this is just some university students' video game creation or not. Someone who's way out there, some kind of giant or something, who has created this reality for us. And that's a pretty mean thing to do, to make so many living beings suffer in this headset reality. And then there are people that say there are endlessly many headset reality makers. Behind every single headset reality is another headset reality maker. So you can go into an infinity calculation on that as well. But those are just fun infinity calculations that it really doesn't have any bearing on our existence, because whatever it is, we have to take responsibility for our own actions. Yay! Okay, Paul is back. I have to wrap up the video, and it's getting dark and it's getting colder. So already over an hour now. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because I find that incredibly fascinating. But we still have to take responsibility for our actions. We're still learning. I'm learning, therefore I exist. Okay, so we are all learning. We're all on the learning trajectory, if we want to call it that. Okay, and that's good. And it's soul learning, and it's body and brain learning, and all of that. And we need to keep on learning and growing and not be stuck somewhere in whatever. Someone might be stuck in their fame, or they might be stuck in their money, and they think they don't have to do any more to move forward. So we need to always move and grow, no matter where we're at. Okay, whether you have money or you have medium money or you have a lot money, or you have a lot of knowledge, and so you still have to move forward. And you have, even with more money, there's even more responsibility that is really coming at you as a challenge. With more fame, there is also more responsibility. So you're a famous journalist, use it to make the world better. Use it to move things in the right direction, instead of taking bribe money from the corporate agenda, from their middleman or middleman or under middleman. It doesn't matter. You know, when someone is telling you you can't be a journalist and be a critical thinker, you have to pressure this person with mean tactics, then you know they're using you like a slave. Don't do it. Don't follow orders. Don't take their bribe money. That is your responsibility. So, use Tucker Carlson as your role model, because he is. Okay? Humble down and see him for what he is. He is the role model of all journalists. And Donald Trump is the role model of all politicians. And Elon Musk is the role model of all scientists. Okay. Peace and love for all living beings.